Hello, everybody. Welcome to the latest episode of Squared Triangle. I am Decavolty, of course, joined by X and Sharky.
Hello.
Hello.
And we are talking about SummerSlam.
SummerSlam.
One of the big four of WWE, which will be pronounced more next year when they go into a two-night thing for SummerSlam.
Can't wait.
Not a fan, but, you know.
Can't wait for the work we have on this podcast.
Yeah.
Seeing how like
it's gonna be really fucked up if we have SummerSlam the 2 nights and then right after is like AEW pay-per-view.
Yeah, because seeing how like everybody's been just adding more pay-per-views each month, and it's like SummerSlam's only go to 2 nights. I was legitimately thinking, I'm like, maybe World's End should be like the final episode of this podcast, and we just don't go into the Netflix era.
Don't do
it.
Man,
hey, maybe we'll get notoriety by then. We'll see.
Maybe
we have like 6 months.
But yeah, this was SummerSlam 2024 out of Cleveland, Ohio, home of
SummerSlam Cleveland.
Yeah, I believe home of Jelly Roll. He was the musical guest for this pay-per-view. Sung the opening anthem, well, not the national anthem, but a related song. And then had a musical number, and a pretty good artist. I had never heard of him. So, interesting to see that. He does come back later in the show, too, during the segment with R-Truth and The Miz. And does a really good choke slam to Austin Theory. But we'll just get that little segment out of the way.
So, interestingly, I'm looking at the commentary teams. So, we had Michael Cole, Corey Graves, and Pat McAfee in English. Marcelo Rodriguez and Jerry Soto in Spanish, and then we only had one Japanese commentator, Naomichi Marufuji.
That man is pulling it all. So he's like,
that man is basically doing double duty.
It's like,
I'm basically doing Joey Styles level commentary.
You may remember Naomichi. He was a wrestler in All Japan and Pro Wrestling Noah, Ring of Honor. Then he went back to AGPW. Presumably retired because he's on commentary.
Yeah. So overall, this was that in that ground of match numbers that we've been talking about the last few pay-per-views. 7 matches given enough time. Pretty quick card, all things considered. I think somebody summed it up to this wasn't like a feud ender. This was a Angles pay-per-view. Yes. Every angle that they have right now got pushed further with this pay-per-view, which was a great little change of pace, I guess.
Hey, there is an exception. There was one angle that I think conclusively ended. And we can get into that when we talk about Braun Breaker and Sami Zayn.
Yeah. So they decided to start off this pay-per-view with a very hot match. We're getting Rhea Ripley versus Liv Morgan for the Women's World Championship. They announced that they're going to have a ref cam during this pay-per-view, which is a little ear-mounted camera where you can see the ref's point of view. And I think they only cut to it 2 or 3 times throughout this whole pay-per-view. But it's great seeing them start to experiment with some things.
This is, once again, Kevin Dunn was actively stealing money from WWE.
Seth Rollins was supposed to have his on more during his match, but with everything that happened, the battery, I guess, got disconnected, so he just opted to take the whole thing off. Which I guess is...
We got a couple of pretty good YouTube shorts out of it, or TikTok videos.
Yeah. So, this match, latest in the feud, not for the women's title, but for Dominic Mysterio. And I think we were talking about this. I'm kind of frustrated that this feud hasn't focused on the title more. It's focused on Dom more, which is kind of annoying for a women's feud. But it was a nice little twist out of this match, which also plays into a match later tonight, too, where we got the full turn that we were expecting. So I kind of like this match. So I like how they kind of set this up to give Liv more of a fighting chance as Rhea dislocates her arm early in the match in terms of storyline, and they kind of play on that through most of the match. It does lead to a pretty cool spot, though, too, where Rhea crashes herself into the commentary desk to pop it back into place.
That was metal as hell.
Yeah. Not a crazy match in terms of spots or anything. Just some really cool moments.
Very solid, well produced and well executed match.
Yeah,
because there's some matches that are like pretty good produced, but the execution's not there. And there are some matches that are just don't have production at all, so they just kind of go and flounder.
Yeah, and the big
so this is a good combination of both.
And the big story element of this match took place near the end, where Rhea gets a chair and is very clearly about to just go wild on Liv Morgan. Dom takes it away from her, saying she can't win the title back if she does it this way. Like, he's trying to talk her down from it all. And then later in the match, he distracts the ref after the chair gets back into the ring. Liv is able to hit Oblivion and pins Rhea Ripley, and it's clear that Dom has turned on Rhea for Liv Morgan. Which was I think somebody pointed out, I don't know if there's anybody that's ever turned from heel to bigger heel. Like, and the thing is, like, this man went from heel to heel again.
Heel to heel to
next level heel, basically.
Yeah. If heel's so good, why isn't there a heel too, Dominic Mysterio?
He finally folded though. We expected that though.
Who among us wouldn't have?
Exactly. I mean, he held on for as long as he could, but your boy folded.
I love the arguments on Twitter where it's like Liv Morgan bought him a PlayStation, chicken nuggets, and loved him for him without having to abuse him about it. The man made an executive decision. It's like,
yes, he did.
But
so one of the things I was talking with Haley about this pay-per-view. Shout out to Haley.
Oh yeah,
friend of the podcast.
Who on the day of recording this has learned about Orange Cassidy.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
Tell her to watch some of those matches from his indie stuff. It's even better.
Yep. So her complaint about she likes the Liv and this iteration of Judgment Day more.
The new Judgment Day.
Yes.
Okay.
Kind of for the reasons you were mentioning. You mentioned that like it's like she likes him for him, so he made an executive decision.
Yeah.
Like those are some of the reasons that that Haley actually likes this iteration of Judgment Day. For the no leaders approach. Also was quoted as calling Finn baby girl, which accurate. But yeah. Chicken tendies, PlayStation 5, I would have folded like 2 promos ago.
And allegedly some nudes, according to one segment on Raw, but you know.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's just what was that? I think there was a segment where he's talking about it and he puts his phone on the table and it's like, look, and then you see like Finn, like when they all go to like high five, on Finn's hand like goes to the phone and like pulls it closer to himself. But yeah, so this was the big turning point in the storyline that has been building up for the last few months. But now we'll get into what happens with Damian Priest later. But now it seems like the original incarnation of Judgment Day, just without Edge, is back. Where Edge wanted to bring Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest in to elevate them. Now they're on their own with the rest of Judgment Day against them.
Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley at this point have been thoroughly excommunicated from the Judgment Day. Pretty much we're calling them the Terror Twins now, because that's kind of the name they went by on socials. Yeah,
it's just what was it? It was a bisexual Undertaker and female Kane was the Twitter post I shared with you guys. Yeah, so it's gonna be interesting moving forward to see how this all plays out. I want to see where Rhea goes from here in terms of story. Liv still has the title, so I'm wondering if Rhea is still going to keep chasing that, or if they're going to eventually put it back on her and move her into something else. Because we know with WWE, even when a feud is seemingly done, it will just keep going.
So. And if we're not solving Monday Night Raw, I think this feud is still going to continue in some form. You know, we still haven't gotten, you know, the whole promo from Dom and Liv about why Dom turned on Rhea, and I think that's coming also. Basically, yeah, we're going to probably get some more of this feud coming down the road. And I think it ends at a later pay-per-view. I'm not sure when, though.
Dom could not talk prior to this. Dom is not going to be able to talk.
Oh, no, they're
after
going to
this.
the hell up.
He's
gonna get showered in booze
next time. He's
I think it'd be funny if they just came out though and he got the microphone. It's like, why did you do it, Dom? And he's just like emotionless. Just look.
Yeah.
Like,
I also made the point that I think between Rhea Ripley, the dominant, obviously, no pun intended, and Liv, who's like more of the submissive type, that I think we've learned that Dominic Mysterio is a switch.
You know, we respect him for that too. So,
salute.
So yeah, and this match ties into events that precede throughout the pay-per-view prior to Damian Priest's match. Right after this, we cut to the Judgment Day's room. Damian Priest comes in furious, asking if anybody knew where Dom was, if anybody knew about this. He gets in Finn's face about it. And it's just like, you know, we'll go find Dom. He's focused on his match, and they just kind of leave it at that. But we can tell it's like, oh yeah, this is the end of this tonight. Like,
yeah.
So that was kind of the main story, I guess, over the course of this pay-per-view was the Judgment Day's storyline. Before we get to the end with the Bloodline and their big turn in the storyline now too, and some thoughts that I think me and X will share about that match because, oh man,
we'll get to that later.
But before we get to the lower matches of the night, probably one of the better matches of the night, Sami Zayn and Braun Breaker.
Only 5 minutes,
and they did a lot after rethinking about it. Like this match, it was kind of a squash, but it at least had Sammy going out fighting like we know that he can do. Mm-hmm. But it's still a dominant display of Braun. Once it's like, you know, I took you too easy last time, and he didn't waste any time with Sammy in this match. Yeah, so it kind of sets up the same way. Right as the match starts, Braun tries to go for a spear. Sammy does a good dodge. Braun hits the turnbuckle. They kind of recall back their previous match where he goes for the hell of a kick, and Braun's able to dodge that one. There was a lot of callbacks to the Money in the Bank match that we talked about on the last episode. There was also
that match itself was a bunch of callbacks. So
basically,
yeah. These men have had the same match 3 times. It's like, there was a
asterisk.
There was a flip or a suplex spot where Braun almost came down right on top of his head and looked a little dazed going into the last like 2 minutes of this match.
There.
Yeah, he hits a spear. He does his like running ropes, which is still terrifying to see for a man that size. Hits Sammy with a spear.
Should not be going that fast.
It moves the ring like it's wild.
Like the dude has football speed, man. I mean, he
was a running back. Like,
yeah.
But yeah, he hits the ropes, spears Sammy, gets the win. And we don't see a lot of Sammy after the pin. We see him sitting outside the ring. But that's pretty much all we see from Sammy after this match. So he's probably either going to, you know, finally get a vacation or just maybe come back a little bit more fire to chase his title again. Or he could go into a program with Gunther because they have a history too. So, but yeah, 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Like, it's a 5-minute match.
There's a lot going on in that 5 minutes.
They did a lot.
They made pretty good use of that time in that match. You know, 5 minutes to tell a story. I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
Every time Braun Breaker hits a Frankensteiner, I'm just like, A, you're definitely a Steiner. B, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. It's just like
that dude is freakishly impressive. He really
should not be able to do this.
No. I look at Scott Steiner, but I mean, they didn't stop him either, you know, back in the day.
Yeah.
I mean, these dudes, he just comes from an athletic family. I mean, his dad, his uncle. I mean, the dude's just a natural born athlete.
It's one thing Scott was obviously taking, you know, anabolics or whatever towards the.
Oh yeah, that man was not natty.
Absolutely, but you know,
but he like Braun A looks more natural, but also like he has like a natural intensity that Scott didn't have.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy to see how. I mean, he's still fairly young too. He's like in his 20s right now.
He's like in his mid-20s still, and I do think he's gonna get eventually put in the main event scene for the World Heavyweight Championship, because that's pretty much a foregone conclusion. This Intercontinental title run's kind of like a bridge to that. So good on Braun, man.
So yeah, 5 minutes, great showing from Sammy too, being able to take a loss like this with still doing without getting squashed in this match. Like Sammy still looks strong, just he was in this case outsmarted by much younger talent with some more power behind him. Like, I mean, even though Sammy has some strength to him, Braun is just a freak of nature. So then it happened. We got a new US champion, baby.
Thank God.
All right, so
rest in peace.
LA Knight versus Logan Paul for the United States Championship. Logan gets all the boos, comes out in a Cleveland Browns style outfit. LA Knight shows up in the prime Hummer, breaks the window comedically. The first time he hit it, didn't break the window. And he had to do it again. It looked like it was like almost like a plastic window, not a normal glass one.
It wasn't the sugar
It wasn't
glass.
real glass. It's like Punk swinging
Don't
in
cry
the
me a
air.
river.
Go for a Hummer at least.
Punk swinging in the air. Real glass.
Real glass.
LA Knight, obviously the crowd favorite with all the bullshit going on lately with Logan Paul again. Right after SummerSlam, also company getting sued for $86 million for breach of contract.
Wait, what? I didn't hear about this.
Prime had a breach of contract with the bottling company, and now the bottling company is suing them for $86 million.
Amazing. So
good job, TKO, for bringing that into your roster.
This is why they had to get the Wingstop. They said they get the Wingstop sponsorship on the ring, I guess. Because I guess they're probably not gonna.
They're gonna phase out the Prime.
They're gonna phase out the Prime sponsorship immediately. But whatever. Good deal.
Once again, I hate how good of a wrestler he is. This was actually a really good match.
He's a great wrestler and even great. But he's even a greater idiot. So
here's the thing about Logan Paul that like everyone's like, oh man, he's such a great wrestler. That man has one match every like 6 months, and
he has the longest US title reign. He's defended it twice.
It's not even that. It's in that 6 months. All he has to worry about is that one match, getting all the spots good. So of course he's like a great wrestler. All he has to do is hit those spots for one match. All these other wrestlers wrestle at least another match.
Somebody pointed out it's like look at this. It's like nobody does a moonsault like Logan Paul. Like people on Twitter just being like complete like glazers about it, and it's like my brother credits. They just lost Ricochet. It's like the body's not even cold yet. And I'm like, have you seen Commander? Anything that man will run the ropes and then hit a moonsault.
Well, it's not only that he's being trained by Shawn Michaels, one of the best in the world. Of course he's gonna be good at this stuff.
Yeah,
he better be getting trained by Shawn Michaels.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, we have some issues here.
There's a pretty funny spot in this match after the Avalanche suplex, which straight up almost dropped Logan Paul on his head, and we were sitting here like fingers crossed. It's like Avalanche suplex, right? Best I can do is a brain buster, buddy.
Go into business for yourself, LA Knight, just this once.
Logan's out of the ring. LA Knight hits a sweet baseball slide and starts beating up his two friends. And just a baseball slide out of nowhere.
The thing Logan Paul came out with fucking Machine
Gun Kelly. Yeah.
MGK randomly.
Yeah,
Machine Gun Kelly was there. The whole match.
No, he didn't. LA Knight gets hit with the knuckles. Everybody thinks, oh fuck, the match is over. He kicks out, counters a buckshot lariat into the BTF or BFT, and then pins for the 1, 2, 3, and the crowd goes fucking crazy. We went crazy. Just like Yes, get the belt off of this man.
Get him off.
And LA Knight is your new US champion. Deserved. Very deserved.
All for it.
I mean,
I hope
people are like,
this helps LA Knight get more notoriety within the company as I think he still has that old man stink about him because I mean he is an old man.
like 40 something.
Yeah. But I hope
Yeah,
this
not
gets
technically
hope
old.
this gets that like old man stink off of him as he like continues to have the title and have the reign for as long as he does. Because I think he's like, despite his age, I think he can still go and get like a world title reign like easy.
Yeah, he can. He's still
absolutely.
great. He's still great in the ring. He's a great talker. You know, you can put him in any kind of promo battle with anybody, and he'll probably still cook them for the most part. I mean, it's just the age. I think is the biggest detriment in terms of the booking committee or whoever is running things. It's just like why are we going to put stuff on this older guy when we have all this young talent here? And it's like, no, LA Knight's been around here for a while, like in a bunch of different companies. The man's manager in wrestling in LA was Paulie Pringle, who was Paul Bear. Like, he's been around that long. Like, it's just like, just give him a chance. I think he's going to do a lot for the US title. I think he's going to get the stink of the Logan Paul reign off of it.
As he should.
I just want to see him defend it more. That's the thing. It's like Logan never defended, really. So let LA Knight make that title mean something that Gunther did for the IC title.
Again, like putting the title on part-timers or celebrities, that's kind of the drawback you have. They're not really available to defend the title often, so they'll get these long reigns, but not that many title defenses, and it just kind of goes to waste, and people forget that he was a champ. Even though they didn't because he's Logan Paul, but still.
It was like the Super Show in Japan. It's like why isn't he in Japan, Triple H? Why isn't Logan Paul in Japan?
Explain that one.
It's like, did he tell them that he wasn't allowed back or anything like that? Like, was that information privy to the people in charge?
I'm pretty sure they knew that they came up with like a cover story for why he couldn't go. I forgot what it was, but I was just like, yeah, sure. Let's just go with that.
Yeah. So I like this match. I like the LA Knight's finally champion. Yeah, just this IC title and the US titles, hope they get that shine, keep that shine. Like Gunther did a lot for the IC. I want LA Knight to do a lot for the US.
Yeah, I think they're on the right. I think those titles are on the right people now, and hopefully Bon and LA Knight can both elevate those titles even further.
Yeah. Moving on, we got Nia Jax versus Bayley for the WWE Women's Championship. I don't have a lot to say about this match. It was your basic. I guess I feel like it's a basic Nia match. The offense is kind of limited. Not just from the size of Nia, she's not really that athletic. You're not going to get a bunch of like high spots out of her. And I don't think Bayley has like the strength to do like the big power spots for the most part. She did do one in this match though.
She did one.
She did do a Bayley to belly.
She carried Nia in the power bomb position for a few steps and then had to put her down. So Bayley does have a little bit of strength to her, but she did look kind of winded after doing that. The big thing in this is, I guess, the friendship of Tiffany Stratton and Nia Jax was the big story part here. Middle of the match, both ladies are down. Tiffany Stratton's music hits. It's like, oh shit, she's on a cash in. Cash in kind of fails. She just gets fucking decked by Bayley when she gets up onto the ring apron. And I think the distraction of Tiffany Stratton is what really was needed. Nia Jax ends up getting the pin, is now your new WWE Women's Champion. And we're going to see how this storyline plays out now with Tiffany Stratton and Nia Jax, especially with Tiffany having the Money in the Bank.
Yeah, I think that that was an intentional
I think it was a distraction.
It was a fake out.
Yeah.
But
the crowd pop though. when the music
Probably
hit,
did
though.
pop.
I'm pretty sure they were just like, "That's a good reaction. Let's."
But
Pin in that for now.
yeah,
Tiffany's but we know what's coming here. It's just how they go about it. Tiffany's eventually going to cash in on Nia at some point.
oh,
She's just
absolutely.
waiting for her moment to do so. But it's gonna probably be a series of fake outs for a while. Or she's just gonna use it as a distraction in some places. But I'm kind of interested to see how they pull this one off.
Hoping they don't go the same story route as like Finn and Damien.
No, they shouldn't.
Where it's just like Tiffany's being so obvious about wanting the title that it's like very clear to Nia, like, you're gonna fuck me over.
Mm-hmm.
I want to hit like a surprise or something when it's like least expected.
Yeah.
But she's been with the company for a while, but Nia Jax definitely feels like a transitional champion. Like, with all respect for her and her tenor there.
I actually think Shield's gonna have it for a little. I think she's gonna have it for a little bit, even though she feels transitional.
Yeah, I mean, they still make the reigns mean something.
Well, they're gonna build her up to be a monster first,
and then Tiffany,
that person who Tiffany Stratton or whoever cashes in.
In defense of Nia, I think this one of hers is a lot better than the first time she was with the company. She seemingly has improved in every bit. Okay, she's gotten a lot better. I was just gonna get that out the way, but so she kind of earned this championship. I do act like you guys. I do feel like this is a bit transitional, even though they'll probably give her like maybe 3 or 4 months tops. And then Tiffany's going to probably do the big cash in around Survivor Series or maybe at the Royal Rumble. Who knows?
Yeah, it's something. Yeah, one of the big pay-per-views, not a B show pay-per-view, but one of their pillar pay-per-views. Yeah, it's so crazy. Like, she's back. She has improved too, but like before she was fired, one of the last things we heard was "my hole." So it's just like it's a nice little noticeable difference here of presentation.
Yeah,
and she'll be able to say that once they're off of Fox.
Well, it's also like the difference between Vince and Triple H, right?
Yeah. So most of the title matches are now out of the way. We get to the one non-title match on the card, which is a big storyline match, and was also one of the most, like, I guess, fun matches on this card. These 3 men hate each other. And this match was all about them hating each other. And Seth just being an annoying little dick to both of them because they couldn't touch him until they did. Yeah, until they did.
It's the Undertaker versus Bret Hart match.
Yeah, with HBK as the referee. There were a lot of nods to this in this match,
which was like 20 years to the day, I think.
I think so, yeah.
On that day.
So it's Drew McIntyre versus CM Punk with special guest referee Seth Rollins with his Sabu pants, which is one of the better insults in this match from CM Punk.
CM Punk worked with Sabu, so he would know.
Yeah. So this match already starts off comedic. Seth takes his sweet time starting the match, so neither of these guys can actually start wrestling with each other. The entire match is literally just Drew and Punk hating each other and Seth being so unserious in the middle of it. And they're yelling at him. It's like, are you like fucking with him like during the count? And he, even at one point, it's like, hey man, even I hate him, but he kicked out at 2. It's like, it's just trying to be like, hey, I have to give it to him. I hate him, but I have to follow the rules. It eventually gets into the point of the bracelet, which was stolen from CM Punk during the episode where Drew McIntyre, the gate opened, Drew McIntyre was laying over a bloodied Punk, carried him from the back into the ring, or onto the stage, dropped him, stole the bracelet, and has had it since. He gets the bracelet back, or it comes off at some point. Seth picks it up to get it out of the way, puts it on, and then Punk sees it, and it's a whole big, like, are you fucking with me kind of moment. Like, Punk's like, why are you wearing it? And Seth is even telling him, it's like, it was on the ground, man. I just picked it up. Like, just all this, like, just like these. I can see this going into a triple threat, and I wouldn't be mad about it.
It's a really good triple threat when it happens.
And it's just so many different styles too. Like, it's just 3 different styles of wrestling. Eventually, Seth gets fed up with Punk, starts arguing with him. Punk's just like, okay, you know what? Turns around, hits Rollins, gets him into the go to sleep. Turns around, gets kicked in the balls by Drew McIntyre because he just took out the ref. Eats a Claymore, and then Punk or Seth slowly counts for the 3 count. Drew McIntyre steals the bracelet back, and that is the match. There was a lot going on between. There wasn't a lot of action in the middle of the match. It was definitely building the dynamic of all 3 of them. Like, there was spots here and there, and then a pin, and then they're arguing with Seth, and Seth's telling them like shit, like they're looking at Drew like, "Hey, you said you wanted to kill him. He's still moving." Like, Seth's just being this annoying third party in the middle of this death match.
There are those TikTok shorts where you can actually hear what Seth is saying on the ref cam.
Yeah.
And one of my favorites is where he like very slowly goes down for a pin, and he's like, "Oh," and Punk kicks out. He's like, "I got a bum knee. I gotta watch the knee."
And then there was like another one where CM Punk was laying on the ground, and Seth was like, "Oh, well, you know you can always give up at any time, right? You know, you can just go home and retire, go back to your wife and kid." Like, Seth was just being an annoying little shit the whole match, and I loved it.
It was after hitting Rollins with the go to sleep, he told him to. It's like, yeah, it's not always about me, but it's never been about you. And then instantly getting kicked in the balls.
Yeah.
So it was a fun match. Like, it's a serious match with the feud going on, but like this is almost like the comedy match of the show, which is how obnoxious Seth was being to both of these guys. And both of them look like they just actively wanted to kill Rollins during this match, especially on like 2 counts and stuff like that. So a nice little break, or a nice little break from all the title stuff, and then it's like the build up to the last 2 matches of the night. And goddamn, both of these matches, in my opinion, great stuff for storyline, but one completely outshined the other one in terms of in-ring. Gunther versus Damian Priest. God, this match was good.
This match was so good.
These men making each other bleed from overhand chops. Like, this was just 2 powerhouses just hitting each other. And this match starts off pretty good too. Priest lands a decent shot on Gunther to kind of stun him for the first part of the match. Priest has a lot of the advantage. I mean, there's a broken arrow where he just throws Gunther across the ring, just really showing like Priest's like just strength that he has. Gunther's bleeding. Gunther had wounds on his chest, I guess, from the Finn Balor match from the night before. So it's just like 1 or 2 good chops from Priest, and Gunther was just like straight bleeding from the chest most of this match. And it was a great visual, honestly. Finn comes out after Damian gets taken down, starts trying to hype up his buddy a bit. Priest, I think Gunther's fucking with Finn, causes Priest to pretty much like Hulk up during the sleeper hold and get into the pin attempt. They get out, he hits Razor's Edge and South of Heaven, and then Finn puts Gunther's leg on the ropes.
The other big turn of the night.
And they're trying to figure out what happened. Priest sees it really on the video.
To watch them look at, it's really interesting to watch them look at the instant replay.
They're actually paying attention. Wrestlers are paying attention to the instant replay.
But the refs aren't somehow. Explain that one.
Yeah, Priest sees that Finn helped him. Match goes on a little bit. Priest, there's a great moment where Priest, I guess, escapes another sleeper hold and ignores Gunther, goes outside the ring and grabs Finn by the throat, just looking unhinged. Yeah, and it's just like the stare down between the two of them. And it's like, oh, this feud's gonna hit so good.
It's gonna be really good.
But to get into that, Gunther hits a power bomb into a sleeper hold, and Damian loses the World Heavyweight title. Gunther is now your World Heavyweight Champion. And, oh yeah, the Reign of Terror has just begun. I can feel it. Like,
it's going to be great.
Yep.
This is all going to build up probably the Dragunov. All things considered with their history and how high Triple H is on Dragunov. It feels like he's just naturally the next in line, but Gunther's going to probably go through the roster.
Oh,
first.
he's gonna get a really long run, like he always does. You know, because Gunther's probably the most dependable dude on this roster right now as far as matches go. I mean, every last one of them. I mean, he led Miz to like 2 incredibly good matches. Gunther is gonna be he's technically the workhorse, you know, of this company, and being that the World Heavyweight Championship is the workhorse main championship, I got a feeling that he's gonna produce some really good matches out of it. I saw on Monday Night Raw his first opponent's Randy Orton right off the bat, so that's going to be incredible. You know, you're going to see the best of Gunther throughout these next few months.
Yeah. I mean, nothing to take away from Damian here. This man had a great title run. Finally seeing him away from the Judgment Day and what he can do once again as like a solo act is going to be kind of great. He has a great opening feud with Finn Balor, of all people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, even I guess even he's like getting kind of up there in age, but Damian Priest is proving to be one of Triple H's most reliable like roster men's wrestlers right now. It's like you need somebody to carry somebody through a match. Yep. Damian can do it. Gunther can do it. Like there's dependability on the roster right now.
Yeah.
It's also best to have them in different feuds so that they're not hogging that space of like, well, both of these people can carry each other. They might as well carry other people.
Yeah. So we're gonna this felt like an Angles and kind of like a reset almost. I think X said that in the Discord. Like this feels like the reset that WWE needed. You know, Damian's in a new feud. Gunther can go on to new things. He's actually getting focus on himself again. LA Knight can move into new feuds. There's a new IC title. There's a new IC champion.
And they're doing exactly what I wanted them to do with the World Heavyweight Championship from the moment they brought it back a couple years ago. They're using that title to build new main event stars. And Gunther was a great choice. Damian, you know, judging from his reaction on Raw Monday night, that worked. He's now a huge babyface now. The World Heavyweight Championship is working. Okay, and I kind of wish that you know, the WWE, you know, Undisputed Championship had the same kind of effect, but you know, I think that's for your, you know, the top guys of the company to go after. But the World Heavyweight Championship, you know, I don't view that as a secondary title, you know, like most everybody else does. Okay, that's the one that you need to build new stars, and doing exactly what they need to do with it.
Yeah,
of course, championship. We've been saying it all along.
Yeah, it's a workhorse. Yeah, the workhorse championship. So yeah, this was a fantastic match. I think if anybody wanted to ever see what like old school wrestling feels like in like a modern setting, it'd be this kind of match. Not a lot of high, like crazy, like high spots. No real outside the ring wrestling. Dives
and flips and none of that. It's just basically, you know,
just two dudes just beating the shit out of each other.
Beating the piss out of each other.
Yeah, I guess things like this is a modern '80s wrestling match.
Yeah.
Even with a classic finish, just a sleeper hold wins a world championship. It's crazy. But then again, Gunther has been very vocal about his love of like old school, like wrestling and stuff like that.
Yeah, he shows it.
Now we get to the undisputed WWE Championship match. Bloodline rules, as Cody Rhodes agreed to. Cody Rhodes versus Solo Sikoa. I will start. These two have zero chemistry. Like they, this match had no life in it until all of the shenanigans started. These two cannot carry a match on their own. Like Oh, X, I think me and you were watching it after Deca left, and we were just like, what the fuck is this?
I want to know what Deca thought of this before I go into it. What did you think about this?
I didn't see the spot where I'm gonna keep it a buck with you guys. I was watching it and I fell asleep watching it.
Oh no, you're right in time. I was heavily focused. Most of the time this match was on, I was talking to X about how bad this match was.
And what he just said is exactly how I felt about this match. This shit was awful. Okay.
So after I went to watch it again, I thought it was an okay match. I think it is much too soon for Solo Sikoa, is what we are learning here.
Yeah, my problem was the pace of this match sucked. Cody is not a fast-paced wrestler. He's a very old school style, take his time, but Solo, I think, cannot match that relative speed. Like, I think he wants to be more of a almost like a Maga, just a powerhouse wrestler, just constant aggression, but that's not how Cody wrestles. So there are moments where it's like Solo's just almost at a loss for what to do until Cody gets to him.
The major issue I had was just Solo just lumbering way too long in between, spots. All right, Solo is trying to work a match like Roman does, and it just does not come off well. Solo kind of needs to pick up the pace more like an Umaga, because I think that was his style. I think before he joined the Bloodline, this role for Solo, I don't think anybody's buying it. Okay, it seems like he just lost every bit of mystique about him when he started talking and putting on the suits,
which is wild because in NXT, for the brief run that he really had down there, he was kind of great. He
was great.
He
had aura even though he was talking.
They let him cut promos, like he had a personality, but then you have a year of him being in the Bloodline where he's just not saying anything. It's just trying to be the enforcer. And now his own enforcer has not really talked, but has all the charisma more than Solo has.
But you gotta understand who his enforcer is, man. I mean, everybody knows who Jacob Fatu is. Longest reigning Major League Wrestling World Champion.
Fatu breaking his fucking knee.
Yeah, so that was a spot that concerned us because when they showed the replay, it did look like his shin hit the edge of the table, and I'm like, if that came down hard enough, that's probably a fracture. Mm-hmm. But the way that he was selling to and cursing and hitting the wall, I'm like, God damn it, he knows he's hurt and is frustrated or something. No, that he was not hurt. A little bit bruised up, but they had him walking around in a boot and everything afterwards, but it is just to sell the injury. Apparently he is fine, which is good.
Okay, that's good.
If he had gotten hurt there, I think his momentum just would never recover, probably, especially where the story's going right now. You need Jacob in the picture, or else he's just going to be lost to the shuffle. And we'll get to why after a second. I've never been more happy to see this man. About halfway through the match,
and all that shit 6 months ago.
This thing is though. It was just always the same match. That's why we were talking all that shit 6 months ago. So Guerrillas of Destiny attack about halfway through the match.
We're gonna talk about Tonga Loa for a second.
Tonga Loa misses the turnbuckle
somehow
on a shoulder when he's trying to drive Cody into the corner. He forgets where the corner is,
and I thought he was going to spear him, but he just pretty much picks him up and misses the turnbuckle. I'm like, Tama has a history of doing, weird spots like this. I mean, someone put a compilation of it up on Twitter. Okay, this is just another in a long line of these weird things Tonga does, and I have no fucking idea why.
I was just like, we saw it happen, and I was like, he missed the fucking turnbuckle.
Yeah.
I was flabbergasted.
Not like it's exclusive to WWE. It's not like it's exclusive to WWE and all the pressure that they put on you for being in the WWE.
No, this is just Tonga Loa.
He's been doing this since Tonga Loa in general, though.
I mean, just him. This is just the guy they hired.
Outside of WWE, who even got back there?
So they show up. KO and Randy return to even the odds. They fight Gorillas of Destiny into the crowd, and then all four men are never seen again throughout the rest of this match. They just disappear. There's no cutting to cameras of what's going on backstage. These four men just cease existing. Object permanence out the window for WWE if the wrestlers are not in the ring. Then Jacob Fatu shows up, moving like a fucking cruiserweight for his size. They lay out Cody, throw Cody into the ring. He kicks out at 2. They're all like, what the fuck? Roman's music hits. And there's a video going around of the ref in the ring, and the ref is looking like, oh shit. I was like, why is the ref acting like Roman specifically coming for him? Like, this ref looks terrified.
He's had past trauma dealing with Roman Reigns.
The man's having a flashback. Like,
he's having Vietnam flashbacks, so yeah.
Yeah, the music hits, the stadium fucking goes insane. Roman comes out with OTC on his shirt, Original Tribal Chief. We know that the feud is probably going to be a civil war without Cody being involved, hopefully. Just get him out of Bloodline feud. Roman comes back into the ring. Superman punches Solo Sikoa. Cody picks up the win. There's a stare down where pretty much the energy is, me and you aren't done, but right now I have this other thing to handle. And I'm wondering if this is going to build up to just probably like a final Roman match at Mania or something before he finally leaves being, you know, a full-time performer. Or even part-time, I would say. I think Roman is on his way out, though. So I think this might be like the last hurrah.
Yeah, it kind of feels like it, in a way. But, you know, he's about to have one hell of a last one, though.
Yeah.
It's been one night.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to go through the blood. He's going to go through whatever him and Solo are going to do. He's probably going to get his rematch with Cody, because champions have their rematch clause.
And on top of that, this is going to lead to War Games. You know, it's going to be, you know, Bloodline Civil War 2.0. It's going to be, eventually they'll get this in the coming months. We got to get Jimmy back. Roman's back. Jay is just, you know, being Jay.
The picture I shared in the Discord after the pay-per-view, it's just Jimmy Monday night when Rhea's single. It's just him running out doing the like face. It's like Jimmy hearing Rhea's single.
But you know, we got Survivor Series. It's going to be War Games. You're gonna get Solo's Bloodline versus the original Bloodline.
They have announced he hasn't shown up, but they have announced that they have signed Hikuleo,
yeah,
Hikuleo from New Japan, so another member of the Bloodline. So yeah, it's going to be interesting, but it feels like Roman is going to handle Solo, and then probably his rematch with Cody, and then that'll probably be it for his, you know, most of his wrestling appearances. I feel like he will be that kind of guy to show up once in a while, you know, to do the Undertaker thing, probably.
No, he'll just be a part-timer, you know, which, you know, that's fine.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't have an issue with Roman being a part-timer beforehand because, you know, he's been in the business for God knows how long. And
man got his vacation.
Be back, right?
Maybe.
Back?
I'm not sure. I don't have that information.
Yeah. But yeah.
Yeah.
But that's what.
Yeah, not a bad finish to a pretty subpar match. I just like Cody. Oh, but also in the lead up to this match, we had the whole backstage tracking shot of Cody going to friends and family. Arn Anderson's there. And I was like, just give him a gun. Like, just, Arn, this is anything goes match. Just pull out the gun and give it to Cody. Let him go into the ring. It's like,
Armed Anderson, let's go.
Armed Anderson. But yeah, he had Pharaoh with him. This is Pharaoh's last time on the road. The dog is getting old. Cody's probably gonna let him, you know, stay home and relax a bit. I don't know why it's like Cody's just like trying to be this, like, I think we're talking about like Cody's trying to be this all-American baby face, and it's just coming off obnoxious at times now. It's like,
It's what he was in AEW.
Yeah, and it's like that's why people stopped liking him.
Everybody hated him in AEW.
Then he put on. Reason. I think I also pointed out, Sex, he put on the comedically large skull mask. The skull mask that can probably be a size smaller and still work.
Yeah, it's basically a skull mask that looks like his tattoo. It looks like an oversized Skeletor mask with wings on it.
It looks like a Halloween Skeletor mask.
Stupid.
Because it's like it's like a size and a half bigger than his face, so it's this comedically large mask, and I'm like, you guys could have just make a better fitting one. Like, oh god, it's just,
oh man.
I'm like, this man is just not self-aware.
Actually, someone please make a Skeletor meme out of that mask. I would love that so much.
Yeah.
Until we meet again.
But yeah, I mean, 7 matches. We keep talking about this for pay-per-views. I think this matches of this quality, you know, and for these storylines, I think 7 hit a good number here. I dread 2 nights. Like, I legitimately do.
If we have 7 matches again, it'll be 14 matches over the weekend.
Yeah. And then it's just like, does that equal WrestleMania, or does WrestleMania start upping the match count?
Oh god, I hope not. Because I can't sit through 6 hours a night of WrestleMania. That's too much. It is way too much.
Yeah. I think the next pay-per-view is probably going to be interesting, though, because we have a feeling Motor City Machine Guns have signed with WWE. So I feel like they'll probably debut at a big pay-per-view rather than just a weekly episode. The Lucha Brothers are talking to WWE. And part of their conditions of going is we skip NXT entirely. So that's kind of delaying, I think, WWE side of the talks, because they're like, no, bitch, you're going to NXT.
It's going to be a big loss for AEW losing the Lucha Bros like that, because
you know the Triple H.
Of that.
Yeah, you know the Triple H meme of him like opening the curtain and like presenting the thing. It's like the Lucha Brothers' first feuds in WWE, and he pulls the curtain aside, and it's Phantasma and Latino World Order. It's just Triple H doing the presentation, and I'm like, yeah, they'd be all the luchadors would be in a feud together. Why not?
Like the Lucha Bros have been a huge staple of AEW since the beginning of that company, and it's going to be a big loss for them. Like Cody was a big loss for AEW.
They also only had 4 matches in the last 10 months.
Yeah, so they just kind of slowly phasing them out.
I think another thing that probably is leading to, I don't know who's at fault for them wanting to leave, because whenever Ray got injured, you know, Penta was always in feuds by himself. So like they kept having them do stuff despite having like just stopping the whole team. So I'm just wondering if it's just a Lucha Brothers decision at this point, just like, you know, whatever. But part of their thing is like, people who are talking is just like, we don't want to go to NXT. So
sometimes you just gotta see what's over there, right? Like, they've never been to the WWE before.
Yeah, I mean, I can see everybody's probably going to go once. You know, I think everybody inevitably will end up in WWE for at least one stint. There are people who will never, by personal choice, but I think at the end of the day, everybody who is currently an active wrestler will have worked in multiple companies by some point. Roman, probably not. He's like their franchise. John Cena, probably not. But in all the Attitude Era, like legends, never really did. But like, people are leaving WWE and going to AEW. People are leaving AEW, going to WWE. New Japan is going to both. You know, CMLL is coming to America.
You know, and that's perfectly fine. You know, because this is how wrestling, when you have multiple companies, should work. You know, there's going to be, you know, an exchange, well, not necessarily exchange of talent, but an exodus of talent from one company to another. It's going to happen eventually, and AEW is not immune from that. So you're going to have guys from AEW going to WWE.
I mean, we're probably going to see Ricky Starks leave. Like, I think Ricky Starks wants to follow Cody's step. But
and he's going to WWE definitely. You know, you're going to see Ricochet in AEW, you know, shortly. You know, you're probably going to see some more of those guys from formerly at WWE go directly to AEW. I mean, this is how it works. And they go to other companies as well. So this is just how wrestling works. We have multiple companies. It's a healthy thing. It really is.
It's really healthy. I was talking to Haley, and I was telling her about how I think every wrestler who gets signed to a major company like AEW or WWE should take time after they've been, like, when they've been signed, and, you know, after a while they take time off of wrestling, like full-time WWE schedule or full-time AEW schedule, work indies, work Mexico, work Japan, work somewhere that's not your style, and learn how to work those people so that you can come back with more knowledge to whatever company you go to.
Yeah, just New Japan's excursions that they call them.
Yeah,
like when Yuta Soji like left New Japan and went to the US to like wrestle in a bunch of American promotions to learn their things, and then he came back. You know, just expand. Like, and I find it so funny though, because there are people who are like, oh yeah, Buddy Murphy wants to go back to WWE, and it's like Buddy Murphy signed us a new contract with AEW, and it's like, yeah, it's almost like, you know, they like working. Because where would honestly Buddy Murphy fit on the WWE roster right now? Like, I don't think there's really a spot for him in anything major. And now he's in a big feud with Flacky. And now he's in a big feud with, you know, Christian Cage and
also,
Bullet Club.
It's also like wrestlers like money or something, you know.
I mean, I too would like being paid for a job I do.
Yeah.
It's like, I would also like to, if I was wrestling, I would like to be, you know, on TV.
Yeah.
So I don't think any wrestler has been like, I will take TV pay, but don't put me on TV. It's like,
I think those guys last that long.
No, they don't.
No, they never do.
Most of the time, they end up in like the lower indies. But I mean, if that's what they want to do, then, you know, that's what they want to do. Every wrestler has its own their own goals and stuff. It's just so funny though, because I read the interview, or listened to the interview with Cody, and it's like, if you're a wrestler and you don't want to be a world champion, just quit your profession. Like, just so talking down to like people who are like, I'd love to wrestle, I don't want to have like the responsibility of like being the face of a company though. Like, I would love to be the guy who helps elevate people. Apparently, if you're that guy, Cody Rhodes says fuck you.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm just like, this man is like just not self-aware in certain things that he says. Like,
on top of it, not everybody will be world champion. Okay, so you get into the business to be a world champion, but not everybody's gonna make it.
You know, one of the most beloved jobbers of all time is fucking Brooklyn Brawler. And all that man's job was to do was just get his ass kicked to make people look strong.
Yes.
And he did that for years. He was doing that shit into the Attitude Era. Like, and it's just like, what the fuck?
He was doing that past the Attitude Era.
Was he in Ruthless Aggression?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Might have been.
He started transitioning into like a producer role, but like,
yeah,
he went pretty much as long as his body would let him.
Yeah. So it's like, you have to have some people who are willing to be the big fight feel, but understand like, you're going to take the loss because we want this guy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's your job as a wrestler to be like, ego has to be in check. Company wants this guy. Let's make this guy look good. So I don't think a lot of people will go to AEW or WWE with the aspirations of being a world champion. I just think it's more of a, I can go here, I can get TV time, I can put my talents to use. You know, I can help elevate people, especially if they're older wrestlers, like moving between companies. I just think a lot of the younger guys too need to start having that mindset though of like, where can my position in this company be? You know, I think Top Flight right now is just like, they're treading water. They're still entertaining, but I think it's like, hey, you guys need to sit down and talk. It's like, hey, what can we do what do you need us to do to start moving up? Private Party. Yeah. Hey, what do you need us to do to stop being, we're popular, yes, but we keep losing for these other guys. It's like, what can we do to start getting some wins. You know, I think there's growth. Like, you just need to be able to grow.
The thing to remember in wrestling is that it's not necessarily about wins and losses. It's about
it's the story. It's are you reliable? Yes. Are you reliable? What's the storyline? Have you proven that the company can trust you?
And can connect with the crowd like nobody's business.
Yes.
And so it's like, you know, it's just a thing. It's like we have all these companies, TNA, CMLL, AAA, which is kind of just, it's still there, unfortunately, but it is kind of in a weird spot.
It regrettably exists.
New Japan, AEW, like, if you're failing in one company or you feel like you've hit your plateau, then go to another company. See if you can grow and see if it's like, hey, we underestimated you. We would like you to come back.
Like two of the biggest examples of that is Drew McIntyre and Matt Cardona. You know, when they both got fired from WWE.
Drew McIntyre,
he went to every company, won world titles, got himself so big to the point where WWE had to snatch him back up before another company did. You know, and that was smart. Matt Cardona did the same thing. He's on the indies making money and just being a big ass star like he always, you know, was supposed to be. You know, those are just two of the biggest examples of that. You know, you can go to other companies and reinvent yourself. You don't necessarily need to be in WWE to be a big star. You know, you just gotta put yourself out there and put in work. That's it.
Yeah, the thing is, like, if the Lucha Brothers feel like we've hit our plateau here, we're going to see if there's any way that we can improve, you know, things and get our, you know, our abilities up or relate with the crowd better or, you know, get more hype behind us. I think they're just going to pursue that, you know?
Yeah.
And like I said, I feel like, I can't speak as a wrestler, but I feel like there is probably a point where you feel like, have I done all I can for this company? And this is all this company is going to give me. I mean, that's what probably Ricochet felt like. He's like, man, they're never going to treat me better than this. Like,
yeah.
So, you know, I'm going to bet on myself. I'm going to go somewhere else.
And Jay went to WWE because she felt like she needed to be on a bigger stage. You know, she did all she could in AEW. Well, she got her name out there in AEW, and it was time to just finally go to WWE and move up and capitalize on that.
Yeah.
She got a WrestleMania match.
She did.
She did. Yeah, it's just like, you know what? Just wrestlers betting on themselves at this point. Not even with the tribalism. It's like, if you feel like you need to go there to see if there's something you're missing or something that you never knew you had in you, all for it. You know?
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with wanting change.
Yeah, until
career-wise, life-wise, whatever. I'm just gonna, I guess again, there's nothing wrong with change, y'all. It happens. Okay, no tribalism, none of that shit. If you feel like you're not in a good place in your career, just try something new. You know, just go out there, bet on yourself, see what you can come up with.
I mean, right now, like, we probably wouldn't have Sami Zayn or KO if they felt they could do more in Ring of Honor, or, you know, maybe Shinsuke or Finn felt like they hit their plateau in New Japan, so they went to WWE. One is working out significantly better than the other one, unfortunately. You had Cody, who felt like he couldn't get anything more for himself in AEW, which is also kind of his fault, all things considered. So he went back to WWE, and I'm pretty sure negotiated a lot of contract agreements to get into the position that he's in. And I mean, Punk probably was not going to be able to work anywhere else besides WWE after everything. So
I mean, to be honest, he does fit in better with WWE anyway. So I mean, that environment is better for him now than it was 10 years ago, but it's better for him now.
Yeah.
It's also that thing I spoke about last time. We kind of discussed, you know, people changing rosters. It's like, some people are better for the WWE style than they are the AEW style.
Yeah.
Like, I think Ricky Starks would be a great fit for WWE.
Yeah. And it's like, so Ricky Starks is probably one person I see leaving and going to WWE. And unfortunately, depending on however the backstage stuff's going, I don't think AEW is going to try to stop him based on stuff that's come out where it's like, hey, we have a program for you. And he's basically saying, nah. So,
yeah.
Miro, I guess if he gets released at some point or whatever he's doing, he'll probably end up back in WWE. Guys that I feel like probably feel better now that Trips is there will probably make the exodus back.
I will say this: as long as nobody picks up Alberto El Patron, that'd be fine. Just fuck him.
But the thing is, I think people going back to WWE, especially ex-WWE who went to AEW, is going to help their roster get some new faces in it, which it desperately needs. And AEW's roster slims down a bit, and they have more that they can focus on. It's a win-win. Unless you're a TNA, and then whatever company you collaborate with just keeps beating up your guys, and you just keep smiling and saying thanks for the money. So...
The thing is, Joe Henry is getting significant time, though.
I would also like if a company paid me to use my wrestlers.
TNA is the best feeder company for North American wrestling.
Yes. He's like,
you
want to use my talent for like a squash match? Go right ahead.
Triple H and HBK though are like, they are just like sweetening up the deal for Joe Henry and Jordan Grace. They're like, hey, when's that contract over? I think
they're all but colluding at this point.
Yeah, I think if anything, once their contracts end, Joe Henry and Jordan Grace are just straight to WWE.
Oh yeah,
like I don't think there's no doubt about it. No, I think TNA understands that too, and it's like, well, fuck, we're losing them, and TNA is just like, can't do anything about it. So, I mean, even like last night when Wesley turned on his old tag team, he beat up 2 TNA guys. Like, it's just like, so what's TNA going to get out of all this besides making their guys look weak? So
I guess notoriety. I don't know.
They're just like, oh shit, people. It's like TNA's just like, yeah, we're still here, and the rest of the wrestling world's like, oh shit, they're still here. So,
I mean, they did do, their last pay-per-view did 4,100,
and then they fired. Then they fired Scott D'Amore. So,
I don't even want to talk about that because that's still stupid to this day. But like I said, the pay-per-view that was for Slammiversary, I think, or one of them, their most recent pay-per-view, they did 4,100 people. So I guess whatever partnership they're having with WWE is working. They're getting some visibility, and that's good. The partnership is paying off in some way.
But again, proving wrestling's good. Wrestling's in a great, healthy place. And the fact is, you're seeing more company crossovers. So why the fuck not? I want more of it. It's so weird. We're getting like weird like 3-way crossovers. We're getting New Japan, AW, and CMLL. And we're getting TNA, Marigold, and WWE. And it's just like, we're right there. We are right there from the 6-company pay-per-view event. It's just...
But AEW and WWE right now, and they're never going to work together, I don't think. Because, there's been too much bad blood between them. Yeah.
I do appreciate Seth coming out in Hangman's pants, though.
In the past.
Yeah.
They also let AJ go to Noah to do his match. So they are letting them, they are easing up on the single company restrictions in some ways. But I did see that. I like Seth Rollins wearing Hangman's pants when he
and his jacket,
and when he confronted CM Punk, and I'm pretty sure he's just doing it to get under his skin. Like, just as not even like as a wrestling thing. I think he knows that it pisses CM Punk off. So, it's just really funny. But this was a really good pay-per-view. 6 out of 7 matches being kind of bangers, nice big return for Roman Reigns, new champions pretty much across the board. So great time for a seasonal reset.
And then we got All In coming in a couple weeks.
Yeah,
so that's gonna be fun too.
What's the next pay-per-view for WWE? Why is my tinnitus acting up? Bash in Berlin.
And that's at the end of this month.
And that one's probably gonna have a weird time because it's Germany.
Yeah, and on top of that, because here's because I think that's the end of this month. I think it's August 31st, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, All In, Bash at Berlin, and then All Out.
Yeah,
all within a week of each other.
Yeah. So yeah, it's gonna be a nice, fun end of August for all of us here at the podcast.
Yep.
But we'll figure it out.
Maybe we'll drink. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we'll get some
Honestly,
time energy drinks on this thing or something.
I think when we were talking about it, I think we said we probably weren't going to cover Bash at Berlin because of the time zone difference. Because I feel like for us, it would probably be like noon on a Saturday. And I don't know about you guys, but I have stuff to do on the weekend.
Yeah, I can just watch that later on Peacock.
So we'll probably still cover most of the North America based things, with the exception of All Out, because that is we'll just call it that's AEW's WrestleMania. It feels like so. But yeah, busy August. Gonna be fun.
Mm-hmm.
Looking forward to match quality. So
yes,
we'll
if
see.
they can keep this level of quality through pay-per-views and make stories progress and actually have matches that make sense in terms of finishes and stuff like that. Because that's like people are like, oh, predictable matches are boring. It's like, no, it means the story is going correctly. It's going in the direction that we expect it to go. Because we know this shit's fake.
There's a time and place to be swerved.
It's not all the time.
But it's not all the time. And it's especially not just because you read a dirt sheet that said what the match finish was going to be.
Yeah. So it's just
because they got it right doesn't mean you should change at the last minute.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's like all of these matches to me made sense for the finishes. Based on stories leading up to them, based on just everything that's been going on. It's like the only swerve that I think that happened on this card was Dom turning. I legitimately did not expect him to turn like that. I thought it would have been more of a clean win for Rhea, which would have been upsetting. I like Liv. The Dom swerve for me was actually unexpected.
I don't think it was for me because they've kind of been building to that for months. We knew Dom wasn't going to resist Liv for too much longer.
Correction, this early surprised me.
Yeah.
I was expecting maybe like a bigger like match between the two of them. You know, maybe I thought like something happens and Liv gets a win from like a distracted Rhea or something without Dom turning. And maybe there's like some weird tension with the two of them still around. But no, the Dom turn, I was like, oh shit, they did it like this early.
I think they're finally understanding not to drag feuds out too long, and just, give this a set time frame and then we're going to move to the next phase of it. So, I don't mind it. Good on them for it, actually, because they never did. Well, they didn't do it in the last previously.
Yeah. And like the Gunther Damian Priest match where like, well, Gunther's been on a warpath. Like he realistically can't lose clean, right? Like that was just kind of our mindset about it. And then it's like, no, everything with Finn and Damian, and then the fact that they had that cutaway to the backstage earlier in the show, it's like, tonight's the turn. It's like, so it's like, that's it. This is where the story's going. Gunther's going to get his reign without being tied down to the Judgment Day. So, it's going to be nice. But yeah, we will see you guys with All Out in a few weeks. This will be a good show. Title versus career for Swerve and Bryan Danielson.
Did you guys I liked the interview that they did with Gorilla Position. Did you guys manage to
I didn't get a chance to watch it yet. I saw you share it in the Discord though.
I thought it was very interesting that, a very WWE leaning podcast did an interview with somebody in AEW, especially so close to a pay-per-view.
Yeah, I'm gonna check it out.
I thought it was solid. There were some comments that were like, they're trying to get him to say something negative about.
That's the thing is like when you're like a WWE leaning, I'm like, oh, they're trying to get him to say some shit for like headlines.
They really weren't. I think at most they were trying to get like a feeling for how the people around Bryan felt about Vince. Spoiler alert. But I don't think it was anything particularly harmful, and Bryan Danielson is one of the best interviewers I've ever seen in my entire life. So he was able to navigate it like very cleanly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't think they were. I think they were going for a sound bite, but I don't think they were like going.
Oh yeah,
that
they were
hard for it.
fishing for probably like a soundbite that everybody could clickbait articles about for the next 2
But
weeks.
I also don't think they were going like that hard about it.
No.
They're like, oh, do we get one? No, okay, whatever.
Yeah. Once it's off the air, it's just swinging in the air. It's like, fuck, we're gonna bury his company. But yeah, so we have All Out in a few weeks. Thank you all for watching this episode. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us once again.
No problem.
Yeah, I'm hoping quality just across the board of these pay-per-views. These feel like pay-per-views again. I think is what I'm like realizing. It's like pay-per-views don't feel like just long weekly shows anymore. They feel like pay-per-views again. Like these are big match feels, and it's like, thank God we're back to this. So, but yeah, we'll be back. Thank you guys for watching. If you're listening on Spotify or any other podcast service, we do have YouTube videos where you can see our beautiful faces here on camera. If you're watching on YouTube, we do have the podcast services. So if you want to listen in your car or anything like that, we do have those available for you as well. All of those links are down in the description. And we do have a mostly inactive Twitter that I keep forgetting to update whenever a new episode comes out. So that's on me.
I'm quite literally melting. There's nothing beautiful about me right now.
Yeah, we're gonna finish up here so Deca can melt off camera.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is 104 degrees right now.
Texas moment.
That Texas heat will probably exhaust you too.
Yeah, and I think X and I are probably about to be hit with a tropical storm, so it's gonna be fun.
Oh yeah. Well, better now than next Wednesday because we'll be with AEW next Wednesday. So I mean,
Yeah,
at least I will be.
Yeah, you are going to the show next week. I am unfortunately not. So
Okay.
have fun with that, and we will see you guys in a few weeks. So take care, everybody.
Have a good one.